I hope you don't mind if I subject the stream to a little bit of an experiment today. But hello. Hopefully you won't notice. Hopefully you won't even notice. But hi. Welcome back to Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. Recipe for Turnabout. Ooh, big stretch. Last time we finished the investigation. I almost called him Jean Valjean. Jean Armstrong. Doesn't seem to have done it, but he definitely had some motive to assist in the crime. And it seems that we're not entirely sure who did it, but it was a well orchestrated, organized crime that Maggie did not do, and Victor Kudo was unknowingly used with. How's it going, dude? So let's just get into this, eh? I'm really tired. I took a nap before stream again, even though I was like, I should stop doing that. I really needed to because I was so tired for the last 2 days. I'm sunburnt, I'm tired, my legs hurt, my knees killing me. Do you know what it's like to magic eraser clean a whole wall? Very tiring. Anyway, I feel that my hands will never be the same, but we'll see. Maybe it's also just the coating of aloe on them. Anyway, good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning, Maggie.
So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Thanks. No such thing. Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet.
Are you okay, Nick?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. He's just like me for me. Real. Aha! The experiments. Okay. I saw that! That little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you?
It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat.
Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Are you watching from the sidelines, Gumshoe? I love you so much. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Oh hey, we saw this the very first investigation day.
Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too?
Not in a million years, pal. Hi, Nim. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Phoenix probably doesn't. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trabian's kitchen a couple of days ago.
Wow, look at all these little bottles.
Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor.
Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others.
See, this is a flashback that's good because it happened multiple days ago. Like, multiple sections ago. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either.
And it doesn't smell.
We finally got the analysis results back from the lab.
So, what is it? Is it the poison?
I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication.
Medication?
Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Suspicious. Unidentified fingerprints, eh? Okay. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? I don't know, why don't you take the bottle back, wait another hour? We can stall the trial an hour. We have things that we could talk about for an hour. Do not question my ability to yap, Detective Gumshoe. And I mean both me and Phoenix. Today's trial. I'm going to expose that guy for what he's done. Or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Yeah, he also hurt Viola. I'm never going to forgive him for that. Who cares if he killed a guy? He hurt that girl's feelings. Oh my god, hi! I forgot you were here! Oh dear.
Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. I forgot about him. I literally forgot all about him, if I could be so honest. I have been so Klapalo-brained that I forgot Gono existed. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor.
Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems.
A mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand.
Thank you, Mr. Kudo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear.
It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick?
Play the song, play the song, play the song.
Yes!
Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it.
You've lost me already, Mr. Kudo.
Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules.
Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles.
The old guy wasn't just throwing seeds in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today, I'll prove it.
Very well. Let the first witness take the stand.
Please be Jean Valjean. Jean Armstrong, I mean. Last time, Jean is just such a common, like, character name because it is just John. But there's, like, Jean Kirstein, Jean Valjean. There's another Jean I can't remember right now, but there's another one. And then there's Jean Armstrong. Anyway. And you are?
Oh, bonjour everyone! I'm Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Très Bien restaurant. Enchanté!
Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman?
Oh la la, monsieur! As you can see, I am le pert and perky gentleman, no?
On the day of the incident, you were in Trebien's kitchen. Isn't that right?
With you, monsieur. Everything feels right.
Wow, he's totally unfazed. Does anything intimidate this guy? Or doesn't anything? Whatever.
Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribien.
Oui, volontiers.
I have no idea how to say half of the words he's gonna say, and we are here for it. Anti-French sentiment. I actually have no, like, I don't care. I really don't care. But it's, as an American, it is the joke that we make, is like, boo the French. It's just the joke we make. It's a joke taught to us very early on in our schooling, and we just continue to make it. And I think the French genuinely hate Americans, which I can understand, so. Anyway.
When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day. Like having a large mirror between la tables, for example.
I don't think he's supposed to be actually French anyway. I mean, yeah, that too.
Oui, perhaps that is what that old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
Huh? Mirror?
Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror.
And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it.
That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum.
Do we have a picture of the scene of the crime? I know we have a map, but do we have a picture? Okay. Cool. That's what I wanted.
The mirror would have made everything appear back to front.
What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. For real, Phoenix, it is way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. It's 2:15 p.m. my time.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay. Let's get into this. And who were the 2 customers exactly?
My, of course, the young man who died. And the other not so young man.
You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume.
What about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence.
We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we?
I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Yeah, Maya's right. For once. Love her, but like... You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today?
You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur?
Bro, I went to art school! Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before?
But I did, just a few moments ago.
Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of deco...
Huh? What is this word? Decoture? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing.
Ah, yes, of course. That deco.
I was trying to achieve a more la feminine look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor.
How big of a mirror are we talking about here?
Something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high.
Let's see. If 1 meter is about 1 yard, holy glass in a frame, that's huge.
I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually.
The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. That's Love Hotel decoration. That's what they're intending with that joke in the original Japanese, I'm sure.
No, but I decided not to go through with it in the end.
What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Yeah, let's do. Why didn't you say anything? If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Baggy Bird's testimonies.
But
You didn't ask, right? You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work.
What?
A mirror was delivered to Tribien the day before the incident.
Really?
As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end.
This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribien, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime.
Huh. If you want to doubt someone, try to look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough.
So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror.
Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object.
Normally? How does normality come in this?
That's the smartest thing he's ever said. In an Ace Attorney game, normal? Nar.
That's lame, right? Even for you.
Huh?
Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it?
Where does that leave the
Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here. Well, trite.
Not the hair!
I do not have a top knot.
Mr. Goto is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument.
Bien. Logic as one la day.
Okay. I know what the deal is, but okay.
Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse.
Hey, Nick. We should take a second think about what old Seedy said in his testimony.
How did he phrase it again?
A boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong, it was his left ear without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. If he saw everything he described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh?
And that clears up all of the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but...
Do you think old Seedy ever saw everything through a reflection?
If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony.
But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We've just gotta dig deeper.
You gotta dig a little deeper.
Find out who you are.
You dig a little deeper. Okay, let me just double check that there's not a written testimony that I have to use. And then there's just, I knocked the vase over, okay. Wrong. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we?
The boy was wearing this here.
Okay, we literally just read this.
No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry to whoever was like, you someone left a really nice comment about the voice acting that I do. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. I feel like it's just my enjoyment of the game coming through. And then I get to this and I'm like, I hate this guy. I'm not going to voice him. It's fucking Skies of Arcadia with that one guy all over again, where I just was like, my voice for him was just, oh, God, no, this kind of voice. I didn't really care because I hated him. So, to summarize. Yeah, so sorry to specifically that person. We were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement! You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it is not so hard, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If
if Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror? Why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head?
Order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
How bitter. Try it. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee? Or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks.
How he thinks.
You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase sorry apology Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg?
Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece.
And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Huh. Well tried. Ugh. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. I never know when they're impersonating each other, so they all are bad at impersonations, I guess.
Wow, I really thought he was old C for a minute there. Goto's good.
Phoenix is the only one with like any experience in acting, and he's sitting here like, guys, who's? I don't have the energy to tell him. Okay.
Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony.
Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you just found is just a rash.
A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears.
Hi, Karma. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of the restaurant. Alors, is everyone sitting comfortably? La mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. To where? But naturally, I did not touch anything else.
Okay. This is not related to his testimony. I just noticed this. Oh, those are supposed to be windows. Okay, I was like, why does it look like there's more entryways? Okay, I see. Weird. I don't think that's how normally... Aren't windows normally denoted in a different way? Am I crazy?
I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror.
What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this.
Don't worry about it. We can keep up. Yeah, I said that right, okay. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. Ah, I hate that guy.
You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that?
Volontiers, of course.
Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please.
Yeah, the windows are big, but, like... It's the way that they're denoted on the thing that really caught me off guard for a second. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? That is so inconvenient. Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Look who's talking, Tread. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Fabian's charm isn't that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporary placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite.
I tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant.
And where would that be?
Oh la la, look how you lean toward me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. How old are you?
I feel like you're not that old. No, you're not that old. You're like an older queen. Gumshoe. Oog, ag, oog, oog, ag. Psychic damage.
Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once.
I attacked the older ones too, you know, handsome. Shall I tease you too?
I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time.
I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume.
Bien, I will tell you. There was only one seat from which you could have seen.
So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat?
My monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. Physics, Mr. Wright. If you are sitting at the table next to him, you would have seen everything, no?
So that's the seat old Sadie was sitting in on that day, when the poisoning happened.
The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd? Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police?
Oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant then.
You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself?
What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome.
Kodo actually laughed at something!
She's pointing.
Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible.
He is buff as fuck. He's so buff.
Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong?
I look like the obliging type, no?
Are you sure about that?
I touched nothing except for la mirror.
Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene?
Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Suffering from a case of heartburn, right?
Oh, I was just listening for that. An oil with golden myrrh and frankincense stance?
Shouldn't it be frankincense? Add a few drops to your coffee, and voila. Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. Godo's flirting with the witness again. It happened again. Don't worry about it.
It is pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Sadie.
Then the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Tribulations that day. Now I've just got to prove it, somehow. So, my thinking is... This is why I was looking for the picture of the crime scene earlier, is because if he had been sitting at that table the vase would not be there because he smashed it. So I'm unsure which piece of evidence, though, if it should be this testimony or this crime scene photo. I'm gonna try this one first. Okay, cool. Maybe either would have worked. I don't know. I could see the reasoning behind either. Your Honor, Mr. Kudo's words yesterday strongly contradict Mr. Armstrong's testimony.
This is a letter of apology that was written by Mr. Kudo, is it not?
I realize it looks useless, Your Honor, but this is still testimony. I guess useless people are only really good at identifying useless things.
What relevance does this scrap of paper have to the trial, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Kudo's testimony is actually very relevant to the question at hand, Your Honor. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. Okay, cool. That makes sense then. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we've heard, Your Honor.
The crime photo?
Yes. This photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist.
What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
Should not exist. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Okay, on that note, on that depressing note, I've been rereading this fic called The Mysterious Disappearance of Phoenix Wright by JJ's a Dragon on AO3, and it's so good that I actually had to stop reading it because it made me so sad. Like, even though I've read it before, I know what's going to happen. I know everything's going to be fine in the end, but it's so harrowing. It's awesome, but it's so harrowing. But the premise is like, what if Phoenix didn't exist? What would the world be like? What would the people around him have done? And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's really good.
Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo?
It's la vase. There was one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there was an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribien that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. No. Unfortunately, Mr. Goto, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Ugh.
Ugh. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself?
I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day.
In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which he couldn't hear?
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my mic position. I started out slouching a bit, and now I'm waking up, so I'm not slouching.
Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick?
More like a contradiction. Okay. There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya.
What do you mean?
Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. The victim wasn't real. He had to have witnessed a version of the events that it was not real. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there's one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake.
He's silly.
Order. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom.
Damn. Judge gets so mad when people are noisy. Imposter. Sus. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Right. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was...
The serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
What did you miss, Partial Bullet? John Armstrong, bad voice acting, contradiction, more like contradiction. The best joke I've ever made, I gotta be honest.
It's so hard to believe, but...
There was one, and only one reason, to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening.
That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Oh la la! This is most difficult for me.
After all. Okay. Thank you all for coming to this Harvard experiment. No, just kidding. You will have noticed that the stream cut out. So I did a little experiment. You remember when it was like really bad a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, OBS had just updated, right? I had to restart the modem, right? So I've been restarting it every time before stream, and I didn't do it this time to see if frames would get dropped or an interruption would happen. And sure enough, it did happen. So for real, the latest OBS update causes this to happen. So if anyone from whoever works on OBS is listening, hi. First of all, thank you for making your product free. I think that's really, really cool. Second of all, it would be really, really nice if you could do another update that fixes this. Okay, thanks. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'll do the lines again. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribune that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong told the whole truth about what happened.
The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain, in detail, the events in the restaurant that day.
Oui. Le victim, Monsieur L, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There was no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Monsieur L became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting.
Just so we're clear. Clear. There was no mirror in the restaurant after all.
Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. His sprites are so silly. I just really wish he had pupils. Oops. Go back. Was he alone at his table as well?
Maybe. I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Ms. Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. Unfortunately for you, Trite. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking?
It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet.
Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden.
Nick, I've had my lesbian awakening. I'm so much more emotionally intelligent than you.
Okay, Maya, whatever you say.
I remember la old man. Oh, I already said this.
By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
Oui, he comes often for my special coffee.
I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. We're just gonna trust the old man's testimony? It's not any worse than this guy's. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oui, that is correct.
But that still leaves the possibility that something happened in that gap of time. And by your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed?
Let me see. Approximately 2 minutes, I would say.
2 minutes? That's all?
It seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time.
Rats. I knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. No, Phoenix. No. We will ask what time it was. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. So that means that he was probably there around 2, which is wrong.
Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no?
Just after 2, huh?
Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it?
I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood.
He's even humming a song to himself.
He's like humming Frère Jacques. Na, 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 na. Are you absolutely certain about the time?
When I think really hard, I'm sure it was just after 2. Oui. It is that time I stopped serving the lunch menu.
Right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early. Nope, wind up a case early just to make it on time.
I guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch.
Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already.
Witness, get on with your testimony, please. Oh, Judge. So, your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim? How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? I don't know, Godo, I'm trying to get all the dialogue, it's fun. You'd never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant. But you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere. I'm sure of it. Did you see him?
No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, I have $1 million!"
Presumably the defendant heard that too then, correct?
Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove.
And what about Mr. Kudo?
That old man choked on some birdseeds that got stuck in his throat.
It seems we now have yet another incident on our hands.
And what were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill.
I am a multi-talented woman, monsieur.
Sorry? What do you mean?
There is le renowned chef Jean Armstrong and the tragic poet
Clarice Armstrong. I forgot about his poetry. I forgot all about it.
Clarice?
I want to watch, but you don't want to spoil. You have the game. Oh, yeah. I mean, thanks for dropping in, but I also, I also recommend not spoiling yourself to anything. Because this is a game that does rely very heavily on spoilers. Is there an explanation for Maggie having the poison on her? Not yet. Not yet.
Oui, I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef in $500,000 of debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi? It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for the court?
Please don't. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? Well, he didn't. Kudo did.
I asked the old man to call from the payphone.
Correct. Okay. At least he's not lying there. By your own argument, Trite. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man would see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear.
Indeed.
Bien, it seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted, n'est-ce pas? I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh?
Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elgin. I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all.
But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too?
She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember?
Ah! You mean that's when the phony staged his act?
Yeah, because they took Maggie into the kitchen, remember? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in this testimony. Okay. I'm not sure which statement to put this on, but we know the timing of this radio show does not match up. So I think it has to be this one, right? Sick. Me when I fucking get you. We're so back. What a callback. Ambient water pouring noise in the background. I'm much less likely to spill the water if I pour it into a cup than if I drink it out of the bottle. Because I'm like 4 years old for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm afraid I've finally got you, Mr. Armstrong.
Quoi? What do you mean?
At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket.
Oui, that must be the show Mr. L was listening to.
I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright.
I wonder... You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Me when I get you? You mean when I get your joke? No, I mean the meme. The meme, me when I fucking get you. If you just look up the meme, me when I fucking get you, you'll understand. It's something for a while, back in like January, February, I couldn't stop saying. And then Nem sent me a me when I fucking get you meme the other night. And now it's re-entered my vocabulary after 6 months. So if you're mad that I've started saying it again, you can blame Nem. Sorry, Nem.
Oui, I am sure it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished surfing at lunch menu.
You reignited it. You really did. Get to the point, right? If you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it again. It's funny. It's funny. No, partial bullet. Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life.
It's on the air at 1:30.
Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time.
No!
This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Quite a performance, Trait. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead.
That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Thank you, Trent. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? What luck it is for the culprit to have a victim that has a Yeah. The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Ah! Oh, you're starting to do the silly noises too, Phoenix. Oh, I just clicked that button and did not read his line. My bad. He was probably just saying order.
Prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright.
There it is. It popped up on my late feed. That's why that exists.
If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor. I think I know the answer. It seems obvious, but no conjecture, Trey. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence?
What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? It's like we're in court or something.
I thought I had him with that contradiction. Me when I don't fucking get you. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed?
That would be inside Tribien. It would have to have been... Nope. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribien.
Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. No problemo. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Tribien is...
Le kitchen.
The body was hidden here.
I see.
Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Yeah, I can actually, bitch. Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? We just fucking got it. Me when I fucking get you. He did do a turnabout. Yes. Godo gave us a no pun intended here, our piece of our own medicine in a way. Or a taste of our own medicine. I don't know why I said piece. I'm really tired. I'm really, really tired. I need you guys to realize I'm so tired today. I had such a rough day at work yesterday. This morning was also very taxing. I'm sunburnt on my arms and it hurts. And I'm tired. I'm tired. And I'm tired of being an adult. Alright. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. Only the highest quality for me. I need to stop pressing the button before I am done.
I read it and then don't say it out loud.
Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribien.
Eh? Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense has had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glen Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Everyone you know is having a bad day? Yeah. It do be like that. End of August. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu!
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No!
Order! Order! This is an extraordinary development.
Not really. Not in this court.
Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg?
Never! I could not do such a horrible thing! No!
No! I didn't see who was saying it. I just was looking at Armstrong. I'm sorry. That's really funny, the transition into the voices is so stupid. God help me. God help me. Help! Help! I'm stupid.
Mr. Goto.
The music's making it worse. I feel stupider. The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. Hi, Maddie. Welcome to the stream. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? You freak. And I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend?
Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I've been waiting for this line the whole game. Ya tú sabes. You thought Phoenix actually called him a freak? Maybe he did. Maybe all of Goto's in time investigating is him on the toilet. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yo puedo hablar un poquito español, pero yo no puedo recordarlo mucho. Un poquito. Solo un poquito. Porque yo estudié español en la escuela, pero I went to Japan and I forgot a lot of it. But reading it's still really easy. It's just like the sounds of Japanese are the same. It has the same vowels, right? I, U, A, O. And like the consonants have basically the same sounds. The flipped R/L, like, in Japanese is similar to like flipped R in Spanish. So the sounds are so similar that I can think in Spanish still, but I cannot speak it anymore because it will come out in Japanese. Anyway, fun fact about me. I don't know if I've ever talked about that on stream before, that I like know Spanish. I studied it for a really long time, actually. It was technically my second language. I'm only gonna ask you once. Did you do it?
No, absolutely no.
The only language that makes no sense to me is English. True. I will say I did try to study German, but the das, die, and der, like der, whatever, die whatever, das whatever, remembering which one goes with which, like feminine, masculine, and neuter, too hard. I would be, if I, no, I just, no. No. Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps?
Witness, The court will permit you to make the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godo's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel.
Oui, it is clear. Latin? Yeah, I've never tried Latin. We didn't have it as an option. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this.
Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
It is true. I eat a body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I cannot refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
I cannot say. I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. L died, was he really the only person at his table? There was another man. I knew it.
Maggie was telling the truth. Believe women!
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. Sorry. That poured out of, that like pushed out of me. Like, oh, there it goes again. OBS. I saw that. At least I was at a stopping point. Phoenix's father was there. Dad came back from getting milk and cigarettes? No, if you've been looking at K-pop recently, you know why I'm angry. Anyway.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Did this earbud just stop working? Hold on. Sorry. Hold on, I'm having a technical difficulty. I wonder what Phoenix's parents looked like. Well, one of them had to have had... his dad must have had Japanese, like, ancestry, right? Why is this earbud so much quieter now? Okay, it's not my ear. It's the actual earbud. Well... that's annoying. I guess I have had these headphones for like... oh, now this earbud has just completely stopped working. Okay. I will be right back. I just need to get more, or a different set of earphones because I cannot do one ear. It drives me insane. I'll be right back. Okay. I can't hear myself as well with these headphones, but it will do for now because I don't have time to dig up my other earbuds. That sucks. Those are my most comfortable earbuds, but alas. I don't think Phoenix ever mentions his parents, and his profile on the wiki doesn't mention... he never mentions his parents, but we know he must have... if you've played Greatest Attorney, you know that he must have had Japanese ancestry. And that's all I'll say on that, because I don't want to spoil Greatest Attorney. I'll eventually play it. Anyway, cross-examination. Did you carry the body by yourself?
I carried him, and I carried Maggie too.
Maggie too?
When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there.
But why did you hide the bodies?
What man? Who was he?
No, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared.
You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick.
Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him.
Why would you go along with this man?
Because he's scary, apparently. GAA, my beloved. Yeah, mood. And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment?
A maiden? You're a bit too old to get away with that.
And a bit too male. He's not one of the girls after all. He helped with the murder.
I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I'll just have to prove it with evidence. So, you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies? Is that correct?
Oui, that's right.
If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this.
He's already confessed this much. He might as well stop dancing around the real issue.
Yeah, but he really doesn't want us... He really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is.
And sock it to him, Nick.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Phoenix is probably... Phoenix is, like, too much just some guy energy. Anyway, where's the contract? You have $500,000. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you?
$500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed the money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. Where?
Le money.
A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong!
Le tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan.
Yeah, it is funny he has, like, strong arms.
I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre.
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable.
Are you going to bed?
Are you going to bed, Johnny?
Mr. Godo! You will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
I think we've probably got a hot minute till the trial's over, though, unfortunately. 30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Goto. We will resume once Mr. T. Gray is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess.
Boom, 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 boom. Right? That's the one. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Wrong one. Deciding. I want to finish this today, but I think I need like a 5-minute break because I really don't want to wear these headphones the whole time. I want to go find my other earphones. So, we're going to take 5 minutes. 22 after I will come back, and we will finish the trial. Yeah. Maddie, I hate Jacopo. I love Jacopo. I think he needs to die. I want him carnally. And that's all I'll say. I can't get enough of him. I've had enough of him. I've had enough of him and I can't get enough of him. I hate him with my gut. I love him with all my heart. My brain tells me no, my heart tells me yes. I've never seen a man so pathetic. Anyway, let's get on. I want to shake him. Am I gonna say it? Am I gonna say it? I'm gonna say it. That's a peggable man. Let's move on. Let's move on. Oh, shit. Joni, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's for the best if you don't understand. It's fine. I can't wait. So I do eventually watch my streams back. I don't remember the things I say on stream most of the time. Like, for instance, Kingdom Hearts, that whole year, I remember 3 major moments. I remember the Hades Kingdom Hearts crossover and the Gorse Degrees. I remember the pirate ship battle in Kingdom Hearts 3 and going fucking nuts. And I remember in Dream Drop Distance, Bingha falling off the cliff and me going, no! Because of the that's all I remember from streaming it. And so in like probably next year we'll get around to rewatching those and I'll get to relive those. So eventually I'll get to rewatching these and I can't wait. Should I watch her VODs as I finish the chapters or watch them when I finish the game? I would wait till you finish the game. I would wait till you finish the game. For reasons. For reasons I won't disclose, but that would be my recommendation. Anyway.
So, we're finally gonna see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick.
I wish I could agree.
Huh?
When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godo picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth.
You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying?
I don't know. But if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe.
What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end.
Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Knot.
It's not a top knot!
Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I get kind of wound up. No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. ADHD be like,
but Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right?
True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? The thing that we should have had done or before. If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. We should have done this at the very beginning. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. And that's, I think, one of the weaknesses of this case, too, is, like, that feels like we should have done it at the beginning. It even tells us, kind of, that we should have done it at the beginning, but then the game is like, oh no, you have to somehow make this stretch out for an hour. It's like, well, we didn't have to. We didn't have to. Proceeds to enter 1 minute before the trial ends, probably. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we already used this twist game in the last one, and it was way better.
It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Because he doesn't have a weird girl.
Well, he has Viola.
Fuck! He has a weird girl.
Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godo, did you find this Furio Tigre?
I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job. No problem. What did you do to tame him? I'm just curious. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites.
Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the...
Ah!
3 cups probably means 3 cops. That's actually a really good point. Huh. Anyway, don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there, too.
Would you mind?
What'd you say to me? Well, I misread that line. What do you say to me?
Nothing. I didn't say nothing, honestly.
Who could have guessed that the fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? Oh, I didn't know he was doing an accent. Oh, I gotta... Hey, oh, whoa, I'm walking here. Okay. I got business to take care of. You hear me? So who the hell called me out into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor?
Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal.
That's it. We're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? Brooklyn v. LA violence. There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. Goto's like, wood. And I'm the one that hauled you in. Too cool.
Don't let them get the better of you, Nick.
Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, masked boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas.
Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder.
Phoenix Wright. You was the one who set this up, didn't you? You was gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today.
So gross. Phoenix. Get a grip, Nick.
Maya, like, slides him a pad.
It's like, this is all I have, sorry.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. I gotta, like, get back into it. It's been so long since I've lived there. I got coffee. The coffee, the rage. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tinder Linda every single day. You just want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. His hands are so small. He can't be Phoenix. He doesn't have yaoi hands.
Ah, at last I found my pin. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination... What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that.
I know the kind of game that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Oh, lowlife? Me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you're just gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. I love a good spectator sport.
Just a minute. That's really not...
This witness is... how can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours, too.
Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here.
No! Yous better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus.
The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony.
Is that supposed to be don't threaten us with a good time? But it autocorrected to food tome. That's one of the funniest autocorrects I've ever seen. Hey, don't threaten us with a food tome. I'm gonna start saying that. Not the cookbooks! Oh, stop. My autocorrect wants to silence me. I'm fine. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor.
You can do it, Nick.
Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Not the cookbooks is so funny. You guys are funny. Okay. I don't know nothing about no murder. Okay. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything on my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was.
That seems like a rather sketchy schedule.
Here he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. Autocurrency wants to kiss me. At least my lack of being able to tie up his caused a few laughs. Yeah, that food tome is so funny. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So, now what? We should press. We have nothing else to press on this. What do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead end, right? And you know it. Remember the rules. No. Nuh-uh. Fuck do you mean nuh-uh? No. It's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before.
I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godo, if you could please.
Mr. Tigray, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. I wish I could stop reading ahead. It's like all my mess-ups come from me reading ahead and my, like, face not being able to keep up. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. I don't know if we're allowed to press this. Okay, I don't know if we're allowed to press this. So I'm just gonna present the evidence, because I'm scared of the penalty, not of him. I've met way scarier people than him. Mr. Tigray, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date? December 3rd.
December 3rd. That's the day of the murder.
So, Mr. Tigray, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. He was actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with you to see how good you were.
Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad.
The judge should order his bailiff to deal with Tony the tiger. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth.
Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated.
You just calling me a liar? Is that what you doing?
Ruh-roh.
So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You's better believe that's the truth. And I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigray.
Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness?
He never actually met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. Can we do a different wording, please? Okay. The judge jumps in Goto's arms is probably something someone has drawn. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tinder Linder. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I never even been to that Tribulations joint. You see her?
I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up.
I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Didn't Armstrong's testimony prove Maggie's innocent? No, because we don't know where the poison in her, like, someone still put poison in the cup, like I want to say a maid, but a waitress, right? It didn't prove her innocent. It just proves that the path that they were on is not it. Such an unhinged, yeah. Goto has lost the hinges. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right? Ugh. It reminds me of the line from The Path that I talk about all the fucking time. That's one shoe. Nobody ever loses one shoe unless they also lose a leg or die. Ain't no liar, okay. Some lame guy, one of the blah blah. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can press these still because of the penalty. But I will go for it. Mr. Tigray, Is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? What about Cinderella? I don't know, it's just a thing. Armstrong said he manipulated the body and didn't say Maggie had anything to do with the murder. Actually, shouldn't Phoenix have asked Armstrong that question? Okay, so Armstrong actually was mostly he was a witness called by the prosecution to corroborate Kudo's testimony, really. So if anything, like it was like, oh, the reason Kudo's testimony and like sounded so weird is because there was the mirror, right? It like really didn't, his testimony didn't really have anything to do with Maggie. And then the one thing that could have had to do with Maggie was like him moving her body, and then also her having the poison in her apron, and the how do I say, we established that he carried her into the kitchen, but he did not put the poison in her apron, so we don't know who did that. And if the prosecution wanted to continue prosecuting Maggie, they could make this statement that even if this was like a fake setup, you don't have any solid evidence for it yet, and it still could have been Maggie who sprinkled the stuff in the cup. Anyway, Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tinderlinder. They're from that restaurant. Oof. If you've really never been to Très Bien before, what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy. I almost said snuff. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me.
Order, order. Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me.
I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? Well, listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, if it isn't the LGBTQ. That's one other thing I do remember from Kingdom Hearts, because I say it all the time now. But I don't remember which game that was. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenn Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. Could be any game it would work. I just remember it was the round room where the organization meets. And it showed them. And I said, well. If it isn't the LGBTQ. Maddie. I love, before I even said it, you knew. That's the sign of a Kingdom Hearts fan, am I right? I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. The brain cell. We all share one.
I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. I, to our cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold it. If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. No problem. Where's the payphone? Presumably in Vitamin Square, I believe is what they said. Oh, Maddie, I thought that said brain anyway. I have my glasses on. I couldn't tell the difference. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant. I'll see. He pays a penalty. Oh, does that mean I could have done all the last ones? Damn it.
Mr. Goto, that's my job.
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. so do it.
Yes, sir.
The Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know, since yous paying. Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Maybe it's a reminder. I hope so. I'll be really mad if I missed out on some fun dialogue. Okay. 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 Okay.
Well, Nick, what do you think?
He's running out of ways to avoid the truth. I need to press him fast before he has time to think things through. I've got to come right back at him with the contradiction.
Be careful what you press him on, though, or you'll get penalized, okay?
Okay. So we already established this. I think he'll get mad if we say this. When I opened the door, I saw one ugly scene. Obviously the murder. Okay, I'll try this one. Please don't. Okay, phew. You mean you saw Glenn Elg's dead body? I guess I did, but I only saw him from behind. He was wearing some raggy bit of cloth he called a hat. And what time was this? I don't know. Huh? You know what winds me up more than anything else in the world? Watches. Round watches. I ain't gonna pollute my paws with some ticking henpecker.
Out of interest, Mr. Tigre, what winds you up the second most?
Huh? What do you think? Square watches. Is this guy for real? Look, all I needed to know was that something bad was going down in that place. Okay. So you didn't actually set foot inside the restaurant, then? The tiger is a busy cat. I don't hang around for no one. I ain't got time to be caught up in no murder investigation. And yet you are. So when exactly did you pick up the mat? Oh, sorry. So when I got there. I got there and I got stuck there. So when exactly did you pick up the matches? There are matches just inside the front door. Our detective friend wound up in trouble with the chef after taking 5 books home. Poor Gumshoe. It's almost enough to make a man cry. I heard the cop sirens on my way out. I went straight back to my office. I don't know if this one's worth pressing. Okay. You wouldn't have been able to see him is the thing. But I don't know which of these is what I should show. I think it's this. Sick. Okay. He can't see is the thing. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. I'm not. Sorry, my city's Pride Month is almost over. I have to make the jokes. Once this tried, a new line of irrelevant questioning. These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this.
Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Nuh-uh. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition.
Why, that's true.
And there was a wall. Now, look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. It wasn't even a partition, it was a fucking wall. It's not even like, oh, we could have moved it. It's a wall. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. No. Nuh-uh. but the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elk, but a fake. The law was put in after the murder. That would make me so angry. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade.
That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Mr. Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court.
But, I mean, it is Tigre. It has to be. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness?
Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe yous don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dares you to say it again. Come on. You got the guts?
You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go on. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts, I'll give you that.
Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone.
Perhaps I can end this embarrassment.
Mr. Godo.
Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no.
The serving girl brought him a Javicino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee.
Very impressive, Mr. Godo. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Edgeworth watching this from Europe being like, I can't not fuck him. Oh, man. Anyway. Found your pen at last, right? It was in my pocket. But anyway. Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glen Elg, and the waitress from behind.
Yes, your point, Mr. Wright.
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glen Elg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show.
What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Ms. Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Also, the girl who's the waitress in that picture has longer hair than Maggie. Like, guys, pay the fuck attention. All these fuckers are like men who, if their girlfriend or girlfriend came up to them and was like, you notice anything different about me? And she's cut her hair and they're like, no, I don't notice anything. And the girlfriend's like, what the fuck? That's that. Anyway.
Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed?
Unfortunately, it's my girlfriend. I mean, his girlfriend. I saw that waitress vent. For real.
Who is this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tinderlinder. You was making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? These people can't see flashbacks. You better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean.
Stop shaking, Nick, you pussy!
Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Ms. Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. And she had kind of a cackling laugh. Tigray does have a point about Phoenix needs to be fucking careful because of Bruto, but there are just too many contradictions in this case. She might be able to get off if we charge Furio, like right now we're trying to get Maggie off as innocent, and then they charge Furio, and then they bring her in as a witness, and she has a plea deal that if she testifies against him, she won't serve jail time. She'll just get like community service. That would be good. Anyway, this is also Phoenix's second run-in with Mafia. The second man at the victim's table who nobody but Ms. Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you.
A witness? What have you got to say?
That's cute.
Sorry?
It was alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to try to jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You's got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you's missed out on one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you's here.
What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre?
What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Troublemaker! Sorry, it's a song. It's a K-pop song. It's one of the members of the duet is not a good person anymore. Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim?
Yeah, I loaned out cash. About $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000! He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she'd have done, everything would have been over.
No. I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000.
Yeah, well, you just got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? What is it, Phoenix? What is it, boy? What happened? Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna save. I don't know if I'm allowed to press. I'm gonna say probably not. Flatten, okay. I don't know, because you have something that you have to pay off as well. Nope, wrong. Okay. This evidence clearly received blah blah blah. We're not. I wish that those were like different statements sometimes. Okay. About to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Is anybody telling me grandpa? Oh shoot.
So the tiger was meaning Glenn Alec to get his money back. If Mr. Elk had just given him the lottery ticket, that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, so what's the tiger's motive? This is the big one. If I don't manage to undermine this testimony, it's all over for us. Why would he have to poison Mr. Elg? And why did he loan him the money in the first place, when he knew he couldn't repay him? Okay, hold on. So I should at least be able to press this, right? The waitress. You mean the girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. How things would have been. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. Or bucks, whatever. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way.
As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigray had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said.
Oh, okay. Tiger's motive, huh? I was after the... Okay, you didn't have another reason. Okay. Oops. Okay, yes you did. This is what I needed. This is what I needed. Yes, you did. You poo-poo head. The kids at work were playing with clay today. And they were like, why does it mixing all the colors make brown? And I'm like, well, and I taught them about the color wheel. And like, if you mix opposites, you get brown. You guys are mixing a bunch of opposites together, and you added black and white and pink. So it's like a nice color of brown, but it's still brown. And then they're like, yeah, if you take out the other colors, it's just poopy brown. And I was like, that's not. I just said gross brown, guys. Not everything has to be about poop. It is funny. It is funny. But I'm not allowed to laugh. I can laugh now. Anyway. Bucks, dollars, money. The credits are all the same. Yeah. So, you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, $100,000 wasn't enough to cover it, was it? Huh. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent surgery. Where did you get all this info? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. Payment for these expenses was due in December of last year, and was paid in full. People are probably like, that's unrealistic for an operation. And in Japan, it would be, I think. But in the United States, spending $1 million on medical bills? Easy. Easy.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs.
And that's what I'm saying, Judge. And that's what I'm saying. No one would pay a bill like that. You gotta contest it with your insurance, and then they'll bring the premium down. They always say that they're gonna cover less, but in the end, if you give them a little bit of fight, they'll cover more. Never pay your medical bills at face value, kids, if you're living in the United States, that is. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigray had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Money confuses me. For real.
Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright.
Indeed it did. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. And you say Cadaverini. Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. I wasn't looking at the screen and I was like, wait, based Goto healthcare opinions? That's right. I might say a lot of stupid shit, but I know about healthcare. If anybody in this game knows about healthcare, it's me, the guy with the stupid mask. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debt. I find money more confusing than politics, even though mathematics is what I specialize in. I mean, math and money are different, unfortunately. Money involves math, but math doesn't necessarily involve money all the time.
Order, order, order. What do you say to that, witness?
It's a nice little fairy tale trite. But even if the witness did need $1 million, that doesn't tie him to Mr. Elg's murder. Mr. Elg only owed him $100,000 and had no hope of repaying it anyway. He probably did have a ton of medical bills himself, TBH. Yeah. If he has vision bad enough that he needs a mask like that to be able to see, he spent a lot of money. Yeah, that guy wasn't worth my spit. Nuh-uh. I don't think so. In fact, the opposite is true. The opposite? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But, in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to pay the money is crucial.
What?
Do you know where you're going with this, Nick?
You've got to think outside the box, Maya.
Outside the box?
I will say one thing about this game, or this case, is I like that Phoenix finally takes into account, like, what Mia is always saying with, like, the think outside the box, like, turn your thinking around, you know? I love when I can't tell if what's happening on screen I'm looking, not looking, or not is a bit. Yeah. Yeah. You never know. It's very straightforward. Mr. Tigre wasn't after the $100,000 at all.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? What exactly was Mr. Tigre after?
Oh shoot, I can't save. Oh, and it's a 3-parter penalty? I'm gonna go he was probably after, I think he was after MC Bomber. Right? But do I show the paper or no, you know what? I need to show this because this is worth millions of dollars. Okay, cool. Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money. Care to explain how skill can be used as collateral to secure a loan, Trite? I would love to know for personal reasons. He had the skill to create a computer virus, and so he did. A virus known as MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Mr. Tigre, you couldn't have cared less about the $100,000. Isn't that right? All you cared about was one thing, the virus. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glen Elg, and then he made his move. To frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Ms. Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. I wonder if this trial is why I'm afraid of yelling out if I won something. I also just don't like yelling out to attract attention, like, anyway. 10% insurance rate? That doesn't sound so bad. Yeah. My oldest brother is really good with finances, like, understanding them. So luckily I can get advice from him if I'm really in a bind, but I'm one of those millennials who has a hard time saving money because I literally didn't think I'd live this long. You know. And I don't think I'll be able to retire. I'm not sure if I would want to anyway. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. When you got to 26, you were like, whoa. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die by 18. And then when I turned 18, I was like, well, I'm definitely going to die by the end of, like, my school year. And then I didn't, and now I've been like, what? The whole time. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godo? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan.
Order! Order! Silence, or I will clear the courtroom!
You's put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You was saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do. Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Ms. Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? I'm gonna save before I do that. I wonder if it's a millennial thing. I don't know. For me personally, I still do have really bad intrusive thoughts sometimes. It's much better than it used to be, but I have death anxiety very badly. Like when it happens, it's very bad. And how do I say? I have the intrusive thoughts of like, I'm going to die soon. And actually at work relatively recently, one of the kids was like, when I wave this wand in front of your face, it means you're gonna die soon. And then he waved it in front of my face. And I was like, I know it's just a 6-year-old being a 6-year-old and being annoying, but like, it does, make me feel like shit because I already have that as an intrusive thought. It was like my intrusive thought had a personification suddenly. Oh, fuck, 4? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? He acted as her defense lawyer, for one. I don't think we know... Yeah, we don't have, prints on this, so we can't say this. He doesn't have anything on that, so it has to be this. Yay, okay, good. My reasoning is okay right now. I remember this case relatively well, I guess.
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me.
What? That's...
The truth.
But... the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I've ever seen.
In the judge's defense, he has probably really bad vision, but the others, there's no excuse. Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man. Nobody checked his ID. Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey. Oof. Forget about it, yeah? Forget about it! I wouldn't do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives.
Mr. Goto was right.
Your Honor?
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
No!
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. Circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we've come so far!
You say you impersonated Glen Elk. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee.
Ugh.
Huh. Sucks to suck, Mr. Wright. Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get mauled. You've got that. I know it said sucks to be you, but sucks to suck is way better. He would say that. All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I had just one more piece of evidence. He'll be arrested probably for something else, but we can't charge him for the murder. That's what they're saying. One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
This witness's cross-examination is over. You're free to go, Mr. Tigre.
Like, at this point, I think what would happen is her trial might end in, like, a mistrial. But also, she's already been prosecuted. Your Honor, sir. Wait!
Detective.
Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I've lost Gumshoe's voice because of Tigre's. Hey, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this, too.
What is it, Detective?
Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence.
Oh. What?
Sorry it took so long, pal. But I finally got the results from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal. From this medicine bottle.
Oh, so, do you know who the prince belonged to now?
Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? I can't, now I'm stuck in New York. I'm stuck in New York. I'm stuck. I need help. Help. Y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, pal. Y'all go. You guys, oh my god, I'm stuck. I'm genuinely stuck in this voice. Oh my god. Help. Help. Of course I know. There we go.
So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it.
You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right.
That's great. We've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? Why? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This was our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe?
Maggie!
You've been working on something. For me?
Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now.
Detective Gumshoe, wait!
He's gone.
Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick?
I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor.
I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered.
Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, right? Show us. Naturally. We can assume it's evidence that'll actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are you just gonna waste? I ain't been in no court before, but yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. True.
No doubt, given the nature of evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. But maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court.
Why won't you let me save? Okay, fine. I'm gonna do it. Fuck it, right? This is the defense's final piece of evidence. I also just remember what happens here really well.
Isn't that the victims?
Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What?
But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should be theoretically in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle. Is that what you saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Foreshadowing is a narrative device. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains a lie. This bottle contains potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You make a good clown, you know that. What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. Me when I fucking get you. On your TV, the bananas flip the other way around? That's so weird. Why would they have it upside down? God. We're so back. We're so back. Me when I fucking get you. Got him. At last. What? Why's everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle with the cyanide was in. Well, you ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you, people. That's just lawyers playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. Yous don't know who yous messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me? Yeah, sure. The last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer, it was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Do you think he's had his canines medically sharpened? Cosmetically sharpened, rather.
Oh, what's going on?
It looks like a blackout. Well done, Trite. That's so cool. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. C'est pour la luz! Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey.
Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go.
Very good, Judge.
Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godo?
He is being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Mr. Glenn Elg, Your Honor.
Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Ms. Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigre is truly a frightening criminal.
The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Yeah, that was so sneaky of him. Godo.
Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird,
Hot. Milky.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
You got those reflexive pronouns in there, Maddie. How long have you studied Spanish? Goto, why do you punish me for catching the criminal? He's jealous.
Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Maggie. I was here, by the way.
I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. Oh, you're Dominican? I didn't know that, Maddie. Dude, I used to live in Bushwick with like a ton of Dominican people around. They're all so nice. I'm like, oh, it's your first language. I didn't know that about you. That's crazy. The Dominican community taught me, like, I'm sure not all. Yes, I was just gonna say, they love life. They make a party out of literally anything. And I'm like, okay, that's not me. It's not me, but like, that's a perspective I do need to incorporate a little bit into my own thinking. I'm super cynical. I need to start finding joy in the little things in life. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger.
Look, Nick, in the doorway.
Aw, Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal.
Wait! Detective Gumshoe.
Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks. Aw.
I knew you were innocent all along.
Why didn't you say that in your testimony then?
Huh? Oh, well, Well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around. Wait up, detective. He just ran off.
Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle.
That wasn't even of any use.
But
it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him.
can't you put it in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie... You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this.
I wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up.
He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts.
He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it.
I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. He's, just like Maddie said, he has excellent weenies, Max. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom.
That's...
A present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love.
He said you lost weight and he was worried about you.
Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know?
Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know.
Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it?
Yeah, it's 4:36. Is it okay if I eat this now? Aww.
So, how is it, Maggie?
It's really good. Aww.
So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows? Maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Yay! And then they fall in love. Well, she falls in love, I guess. I don't know. I feel like she already kind of was having a crush on him, but then got like the ick from the testimony. Anyway, oh my god. I'm so excited for no more Tuesdays. That's the thing. It's even sooner, guys. Okay, so I put this in the community post as well, but the schedule is changing because August is almost over, and my work schedule will be a little different. I will not be able to have my Tuesday afternoons guaranteed anymore. So, Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. is what I've decided. We're going to do Ace Attorney. And then Thursdays and Saturdays stay the same. Yeah. So Sunday evening, I'm so excited. Sunday evening, we are going to get into Turnabout Beginnings, which is crazy. It's so good. Let's see. If I were in Phoenix's position, I wouldn't have caught Tigre. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have either. I'm always trying to find the silver lining. Yeah, seriously though, it was such a, the landlady I had was crazy. She was crazy. And then I guess she wasn't the landlady. She was like the person I was like subletting from, and then would sign on for the lease. She was crazy. And I don't use that word lightly. She was genuinely, there's something so wrong with her psychologically that it was like scary to live with her. And then also our actual like building owner was not very attentive to like physical things wrong with the building. And so it was a little scary to live in that particular building. So I did get out of there, but like the people in the neighborhood, with the exception of like the gangs relatively nearby, because I did live on the edge of it being a little sketch. The part that was like just normal Brooklyn was really fun. Like the food was great. The people around, there were so many bodega cats. God, I miss the bodega cats so much. Anyway, was there any evidence Gumshoe gave you in this case? Just the bottle, I think. I don't remember though if there was anything else. I was in Phoenix's pocket this whole time. Phoenix is a hoarder, a little bit. I think he's sentimental. He's a sentimental hoarder. Anyway, yeah, Sunday evening, 6 p.m. we continue with this game. But before that, Saturday evening, 6 p.m. my time, is Okami. We get to meet my wife. We get to meet my wife next week, or this next stream. We get to meet my wife next stream, and and then Sunday we'll get to see my other wife. So, wife. Rounding out the end of Pacific Northwest Pride Month with a bang. So you know the drill. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be good to yourself. Be kind. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Wear a mask. Still in the surge. You know the deal. Hopefully they get those updated boosters soon. If you forget the schedule, it's in the community post. And thanks for hanging out. I will see you when I see you for wife time.